this is going to be a weird little rant. Not actually a rant, just a weird little topic I wanted to talk about. You see, I actually got this idea from, like most of my other videos, about, from comments sections. I look in the comments, and there's actually one. This is a funny little story, that I was watching a video that had Vegeta and Bulma. Someone told me it was a good video. I checked it out. It was actually a really good video, despite, I don't... Okay, the song, real quick, I'm going to get on that. The song in that video was Katy Perry, E.T. Now, I'm not a Katy Perry fan at all, but the song, I will give credit that the song actually fits the couple. And one guy, who I'm no doubt in my mind was a troll, stated, and I quote, "This is disgusting, he's an alien, she's a human." Yeah, so that's where this subject is coming from. Yeah, I just lost my place. Okay, first off, getting on that subject, first off, this is all fanaticism, and I don't really take any of this stuff seriously. I'm just gonna go through some stuff here and there. Now, first off, on interspecies relationships, first off, it's all fantasy. It's wrong in the real world, because that's where bestiality comes from, and I don't like that. But yeah, the thing is that, it's, first off, like I said, it's fantasy, because I'm trying to figure out the right words to say here. It's all make-believe, aliens can date humans, or humans can date aliens, or robots, or some crazy shit like that. Whatever the author or creator wants. A good example of this is with the picture right here, Superman and Lois. That's a good, interspecies relationship, Kryptonian and human. No one's had a problem with that for years. Decades, I should say. No one's had that problem with Superman and Lois Lane for decades. No one's had that problem with the relationship of Superman and Lois. I haven't. In fact, it's probably the only working relationship that's been going on for, this is probably the longest running, marriage ever. Next to Peter Parker and Mary Jane, but thank you, Quesada, you fat bastard. So yeah. So that's why I think people get pissed off, because it's all fantasy, and I think it was just a troll comment. But getting on that subject is that, yeah, Superman and Lois, it's not just because they're two different species, it's because they're two different characters. And this is why I kind of like these interspecies relationship, because first off, they're two different kinds of people. We got one character who's, I don't know, a good example of this would probably be Vegeta and Bulma. We got Vegeta, who's this brooding, angry, egotistical, asshole. That's the best word for him. And we got this, and he's married to a incredibly smart, clever, intelligent, woman, who would probably have no interest in him, probably other than a bad boy syndrome, which may as well be the case, but, it is proven throughout the anime and some in the manga. I don't know how much the manga follows the anime. Well, yeah, not a lot, but Kai, they might explore this. I don't know for sure, but Vegeta really does care about Bulma, If despite hiding under all that badassery, he really does care about her. So there's that. That's why I think when it comes, it's not just species. I never really took it for, oh, they're two different species, so they can't work. It's it comes down to personality. I think that's what makes these pairings in relationships so interesting, because they've got, like I said, two different cultures, it's two different cultures, two different races, and two different kinds of ideals as well. You have, let's say, let's take all these ideals, like Superman and Lois Lane. Superman and Lois Lane, two different. They're not really that much different, but they do have their differences. Actually, no, I take that back. Superman and Lois is not a good example. They are different characters, but I think that's why their marriage so well is because they do care about each other a lot. I think that's why people... Oh, here's the better example. Miss Martian and Superboy. There's a better example. It's not because people like them because, oh, it's a Martian and a clone. There's two different, we have Miss Martian, who's this perky, happy-go-lucky woman, alien, I mean, and we have Superboy, who's this brooding and angry super clone. So I think that's why people like the idea, because first off, it's fantasism, and it's like, how can these two characters be in a relationship or care about each other when they're two different kinds of people? I think that's why I'm gonna get on this subject real quick because I think it's so funny to talk about. I think that's why if you guys, for those who are fans of Transformers Prime, I think for those who don't know, if you go on fanfiction right now, there is a good chance you are going to find if you go into the Transformers section of fanfiction.net right now, and then you look for Transformers Prime, because they have Prime in the little and it goes to World, and you look down and it says Prime. You're probably going to find some Jack Darby and RC stories. Same thing goes for if you look for Transformer Armada stories. You're going to find some Starscream and the human Alexis in there, because I'll be guilty when I say I wouldn't be lying if I said I read a couple of those stories, because first off, it's interesting, and they kind of hint at it throughout the shows. You can't tell me otherwise. Oh, they're just two different characters. I'm like, giant robot and human. It's worth a look. That's how I always thought it would be. And people really like those, the ideas of those parents, because I think it's so out there, and it really takes the ideas of imagination to go that route. I don't think it might happen in the show of Transformers Prime, but it'd be interesting as hell to see, and it's fun. I think that for the most part, actually, getting on that comes from the episode Predatory, where they really play off each other really well. So that might be, the cause of it, but for the most part, yeah, there are a lot of people out there who like Jack and RC together in Transformers Prime. Same thing oh well. So there's that. There are a lot of interspecies relationships in, and like I said, I'm not taking this seriously, I'm just, talking. Because I think it's just so funny that people actually argue. One guy actually argued about this, and I want to do a whole video about it, because it's actually a really interesting subject when you because I never looked at them as two different species. I look at characters as two different people and how they're going to interact with each other. That's how I always look at it. So like, oh, he's one character and she's another. It's not like, oh, they're two different species, so that'll never work. No, it's like their characters are too different. That's the thing. So that now this doesn't go for now for those who because I know there's going to be one or two guys out there who are like, well, do you care about interracial relationships? First off, I don't judge anyone by their skin color. All right, love is love. Interracial relationships, that's okay with me. I've had no problem with it from the start. I've had no problem, and this is interspecies, interracial. That's real life. That's okay with me. I have no problem with that. Interspecies, I don't have a problem with it because that's all fantasy, So that's why, and I don't want to confuse people that I was talking about. What I was talking about goes for interracial, because that's a totally different subject that I will probably never get on because I am not good with love. But I'm just talking about this because this is all fantasy. So, there is all that. That is pretty much what I wanted to say. I think I've babbled on for about 10 minutes or so, and I don't really care because I didn't have anything planned for this. But, like I said, I could care less about interspecies. This all comes from basically shows, and I could care less about, because it's all imaginary people. Like Grant Morrison said in his interview, they're all paper people. You don't have to be, why is this happening, or why is that character like that character? Then you're overthinking it. It's just a show. I just like it because it's part of the show. It adds to the, the drama of it, or, it adds to the characters. That's why I kind of get interested when I look at interspecies pairings. And when they do that on the shows, like, of course, Vegeta and Bulma, I do like the RC Jax thing because I think it's just so... It's so out there. That's the fun part. I do like Superboy and Miss Martian. I do like Superman and Lois. That's the fun part. So yeah, I think I pretty much said my piece on this. You guys tell me what you think of the whole interspecies relationship in the media, in animation and comics. But yeah, I think I've rambled on for long enough.